Okay, here's a video on the 6th grade state review packet 1A. So you have the packet at home, and I'm going to give you similar questions. So again, these are not the questions that you will see on your packet, but they're similar questions. So if you can do these questions, then you should be able to do the questions on the packet. So here we have the first question, similar to the one in the packet. It says, for every 17 children, there needs to be 3 adults at the center. And the question on the packet says, circle the ratios that represent adults to children. So again, remember, when we do ratios, we have to remember which comes first. In this case, the question said adults, then children. So we want to have the adults, then the children, those numbers in the ratio. So adults are 3 and the children are 17. So that's one way we can make the ratio. And there's other ways we can make a ratio. We can make a ratio with the colon. 3:17. That's another way we can make it. And we can also use the word 2, 3 to 17. That's the ratio. And remember, in the question we ask for adults first, then the children. So be careful how the question is asked. Okay, here's question 2, similar to the one you have in your packet. So here we have a motorcycle travels 3 1/4 miles. So that's 3 1/4 miles in 3.5 minutes. In 3.5 minutes, we can make 3 1/2. You can use decimals or fractions, whatever is easier for you. How much can the motorcycle travel in 1 hour? Now be careful here, because you want to use the same measurements of time. Here we're using minutes, but here we have hours. So be careful with that. You want them to all be minutes. So we can do a couple of things here, and I'll show you 2 ways. We can make a proportion, and you should know proportions. Sometimes proportions can help you solve a lot of problems. So what we have right here, and we can say 3.25, because that's 3 1/4, or you can just keep it 3 1/4, over 3.5. So what we're doing here, we're doing the miles over the minutes. That's our ratio so far, miles over minutes. Now, you can do it the other way around also. You can do minutes over miles. And we want it to equal, we want to make a proportion on this side. So on this side, we want to find out how much can it go? How much can the motorcycle travel? How many miles can it travel in an hour? So we don't know that part, so we put an X. Now, we're not going to put 1. If we put a 1, that will represent a minute, because remember, it said minutes. We need an hour, and we need them all to be the same. So instead of putting a 1, we have to put a 60, because there's 60 minutes in an hour. So here we have our proportion so far. And what do we do next, if you remember with proportions? We want to find out what the X is, so we want to cross multiply. And we'll make an equation. So let's bring this up here. So I have 3.5 times x, and that's 3.5 times x is 3.5x. 3.5 times x is 3.5x. And then 60 times 3.25 is 195. So that's our equation so far. What do we do next? We want to isolate the variable x. So let's rewrite this. I'll rewrite it on top here so we can see it. We have 3.5x equals 195. We're going to divide 3.5 on both sides. And then we'll find that x equals 55.71, and it keeps going. There's a 4 there. So we can say roughly that, if we look at our equation again, the motorcycle in 1 hour will go about 55.7 miles, or roughly it'll go 56 miles. So that's how we did it with a proportion. You should rewind the video here and see how I did that again. But we can also just get this answer by just doing simple division. So let me demonstrate that. Motorcycle travels 3 1/4 miles. So it's going 3 1/4 miles in 3 1/2 minutes. Remember, 3.5 is minutes. So we just divide. And now when we divide these mixed numbers here, these mixed fractions, we should turn them into improper fractions. So 4 times 3 is 12 plus 1. We have 13 over 4 divided by 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 over 2. And remember, we have to flip. Remember, we have to flip the fractions when we do multiplication. So this now will turn into multiplication, and we get the reciprocal. Remember, we're going to flip the last fraction. Now we have 2 over 7. And we'll get an answer of 26 over 28. Now that answer is the unit rate. That's how much the motorcycle is traveling in 1 minute. We need to find out how much the motorcycle can travel in 1 hour. Now, again, you can also reduce this. 26 over 28 can be reduced to 13 over 14. So we have 13 over 14 is the unit rate, and we want to find out what that rate is in an hour. So that's why we're timesing it by 60. And we're just doing simple multiplication here. 13 times 60 is 780. So we'll get 780 over 14, which gives us the same answer when we did the proportion, 55.7. So you can divide, or you can just do a proportion. Be careful with the fractions and the decimals. A quarter, remember, is 0.25.